In time to come also, we would have 7 to 8% growth rate, and which is expected to be over the next 10 years. I mean, that has been, these are the comments of the Finance Ministry of India. So with this, steel sector is going to do well. And if steel sector, if money comes to the steel sector, then all these innovations, all these investments can be brought about. And especially new ones where green steel making, green hydrogen setup is required. And I mentioned about green hydrogen, what is infrastructure? Because a lot of work needs to be done by the government, and government is doing that in terms of setting up of the ecosystem for green hydrogen. Green hydrogen, otherwise, I mean, it is produced and transporting it, storing it. I mean, it's a mammoth challenge, and it has its own complexities. So, and all the steel majors are working towards that. We in Jindal Steel also are planning to set up a 4,500 ton of green hydrogen facility by end of next year. Similarly, renewable energy, we are targeting next year by year end about 3 gigawatt of renewable energy. So every industry is working towards that. But in the end, I'll say that we need to, what is the most important thing? Most important thing is developing technologies through collaboration. And collaboration means that R&D which is inclusive. Because R&D generally what we do, I mean, is, since it is ridden by IPR complexities, so one tries to keep it secret. So for sector like this,
please have a big round of applause. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, while they are doing there, I can always speak from this mic. We will now start the CEO meet, the next event of this morning. First meet, we have almost 10 guests here. I would like to invite Mr. Anil Sonmes, CEO Almatis, Mr. Jagdish Agarwal, Senior Vice President, Commercial and Purchase, JSW Steel Limited. Welcome, sir. Mr. Igawa Kazuhiro, President, Krosaki Harima Corporation. Welcome, sir. Mr. Vishal Agarwala, Director, Maithan Ceramics Limited. A loud clap, please. धीरे धीरे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. Dr. Rainer Gebel, Managing Director, Refractory Holding GmbH. Welcome, Rainer. Mr. Stefan Borges, Chief Executive Officer, RHI Magnesita. Welcome, Stefan. Mr. Hiki Miki, Managing Executive Officer and Division Director, Overseas Business, Shinagawa Refractories Company Limited. Welcome, sir. And finally, not the last but the least, Mr. Patrick Andrea, Chief Executive Officer, Vesuvius PLC. Can we please have a big round of applause for all the dignitaries here? Thank you. I would now request the moderator of this meet, Mr. Sunanda Sengupta and Mr. Jyotirmay, to please take on the stage and start the session. A very important information. I'm so sorry, sir. Mr. Pramod Sagar has lost his glasses. So currently it is Anamika. So if anybody founds, just know it has a name. It is Mr. Sagar's glasses. Just give it on to him.
Good morning.
Very good morning once again, and I would like to take this opportunity. Both of us are really honored and humbled to have with us as our esteemed panelists for the CEO meet of IREFCON 2024. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause once again, please.
We are people of fire, and people of fire cannot be so cold. So let's hear it out for this is the best photo moment for the whole conference. You are the galaxy of stars of world refractory industry and Indian steel industry in the same platform. So let's have it for them.
To give you a framework of this entire program, which will be moderated by me and my colleague in the IREFCON 24 organizing committee, Mr. Jyotirmay Bhattacharya, we would be basically covering all the facets of the entire business value chain. And we are, for the first time, in fact, in IREFCON 24, we have the entire stakeholders in the community. We have starting from the raw material fraternity, the manufacturing sector, and our esteemed user industry. So thank you so much for taking your time out and spending some time with us in this CEO panel discussion. And with the permission of all of you, I would like to start the discussion with the opening question to Mr. Jagdish Agarwal, Senior Vice President Procurement, JSW Steel. Sir, thank you once again. JSW has undergone major growth path through organic and inorganic way in the last few years. All of us know that. So how do you see refractory as an enabler to your growth journey? And what are your expectations from the refractory industry?
Hello. First and foremost, thank you for inviting JSW Steel. Yeah, thanks a lot. Once again, thanks for inviting. Hello. Yeah, once again, thanks for inviting JSW Steel to this conference. We are large producers of steel.
Just to put it here.
Hello.
Hello. Can I use this one? Refractory always comes to steel's rescue, no?
Hello. Yeah. Once again, thanks for having JSW Steel in this conference. We are a large producer of steel in the country, and we find pride in the fact that we are contributing to the Indian nation. Our growth trajectory has been quite strong, and our growth trajectory and the entire spend base, refractories is an important component of the entire spend base, which constitutes anywhere between 2 to 3% of our spend base. Having said that, refractories is one particular area where we still have a large part of our resources coming from the international domain. There we would like some of our refractory partners to set up a strong base in India, wherein they are able to find alternate options of developing the entire raw material base within itself, develop that, and start providing services to us at a very short notice. During the last 5 years, a lot of progress has happened. We have migrated from buying refractories to buying total refractory management services. That's one big achievement what we have been able to do. Going forward, we believe that all the refractories are manufactured in India, given a choice. And secondly, We have made large commitments in the sustainability space. Today in the opening session, the chairman spoke and Mr. Sunanda spoke about the initiatives in the sustainability space, what the refractory industry is doing. JSW has made large commitments, like by 2030, our value-added product will be carbon neutral. By 2050, our entire steel production would be carbon neutral. We would like to see that we achieve these targets well before the dates what we have mentioned in the, to the industry. So there we believe with partners like you, we can make a good progress.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Jagdish ji. Refractory industry believes in customer first, so I will move to our next customer present in the panel, Mr. Pathak, representing Jindal Stainless Steel. Sir, you are representing stainless steel, which is a small part of steel industry, but a very significant and important part. So we are eager to know from you that what is Indian steel, stainless steel growth plan in coming years, and same in the line what we were asking Mr. Agarwal, what is your three biggest expectation from refractory partners?
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to represent the stainless steel industry, a small part of the steel world, but very important nowadays because corrosion resistance, the life cycle cost of steel has become important, and stainless steel is very important in giving the higher life to the steel, so that the recycling, which is an important part of the 4 R's that we are talking about here, the steel industry, the stainless steel plays an important role over here. So as far as Jindal Stainless is concerned, we are talking about doubling our production capacity in the next 6-7 years. So we are already more than 3 million ton producer of stainless steel. In India, we have some operations abroad as well, but let's focus on India, where we have 2 plants, and keeping in view the growth trajectory of the country, the demand increase, we expect that we should be going in line with the 9 to 10% CAGR growth rate, and we should be increasing our capacity. So step number 1, we are planning to increase our capacity by 1 million ton in next 2 to 3 years. And by doing so, we would be already in the top 5 stainless steel producers in the world, except China, and we want to grow further. And what we expect from the refractory industry is that since the environmental impact on the steel production, and especially the refractory plays equally important role here, is to reduce that CO2 impact. What I see and gather is that around 1.8 ton CO2 equivalent is emitted in producing 1 ton of stainless steel. And exactly equal amount of CO2 impact is there in production of 1 ton of refractory product. Almost 1.74 ton CO2 equivalent is there in the refractory. So as we are planning to reduce the CO2 and become carbon neutral by 2050, we expect that our partners in the refractory industry also are going in that direction and reducing the carbon footprint. So what we can do in order to reduce this? Of course, everyone is making an effort, going green, green hydrogen, etc. we are talking about, but many more technological innovations and challenges we must undertake. For example, use of nanotechnology, which can help in thermal conductivity and the mechanical properties of the refractory, self-healing refractories, so we can talk about the refractories which can cure the cracks, the small cracks, so that it can increase the life cycle. Of course, we talk about the recycling of the refractories, The usage of AI and automation and robotics in the mechanical maintenance and laying of refractories, which can increase the life cycle, etc. So there are many ways the industry can help us and help together, both of us, in reducing the carbon footprint. Of course, to maintain the sustainable supply chain, we need to work together and to ensure that from the refractory till the usage, we reduce the carbon footprint. So that is our expectations from the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pathak Sab. I mean, it was, you have laid down between Awal Sab and yourself, you have laid down the expectations, and I think what is we find common amongst the views that you have given is that the sustainability and the lot of innovations on technology is one of the key aspects. So I would like to request Mr. Andre, sir, technology is the core strategy of Vesuvius, and we have just heard what our representatives from our user industry have already mentioned about. But let me ask you a question, that with the refractory raw material continuing to remain so volatile, what has been your experience in passing on such cost fluctuations to your customers? Is technology leadership giving you a competitive advantage?
Probably yes. Probably yes. It's not exactly a sustainability question, your question, but I will answer. Yes, I believe that raw materials are fluctuating, and refractory producers cannot absorb the fluctuations of these raw materials. They have no other choice than to introduce the volatility of these raw materials in their own pricing of refractory products on the way up, but also on the way down when it comes down. But to come back to the sustainability point, I strongly believe that the refractory industry and the steel industry, we are on the same boat. We have a common problem and a common interest to solve it together. The first important remark I would like to make is that steel is essential for the decarbonization of the world. Steel is often seen as the problem, as emitting, the steel sector, including refractory, as emitting a lot of CO2. But in fact, steel is absolutely essential to decarbonize the world. The world will not be decarbonized without consuming more and more steel. So steel is also the solution of the climate change problem of the world. And we have a common task to do together, our customers and ourselves, to contribute to produce more and more steel, while at the same time emitting less and less CO2. And we have to collaborate together to do that. And the refractory industry has a very important role to play. First, to play its role, the refractory industry has to clean its own house. So we need to make ourselves a significant effort to decarbonize our own plants, our own Scope 1, Scope 2 emissions. Vesuvius, we've engaged into this adventure with a commitment to become net zero by 2050. We took this commitment in 2019, and we have already done 25% of the way, because last year we were able to reduce our carbon intensity, or CO2 emissions per ton of product, by 25% on a sustainable way, as compared with what we were emitting in 2019. And we did that through technology, by changing our processes, by changing the type of fuels that we were using. And we are now on track to reduce our own CO2 footprint by 50% by 2035. It's interesting because it shows that it's becoming more and more difficult. The first 25% took us 5 years. The next 25% will take us 10 years. And the next 50% will be even more difficult. And that's the same for everybody. But I believe that the refractory industry first should clean its own house and engage forcefully into a reduction of its own CO2 emissions. Once we've done that, the second most important task becomes how to help our customers. And there again, the refractory industry has a role to play, and Vesuvius, we are engaged into that. Today, more than 50% of our R&D spent is on products which will have, when we put them on the market, a positive impact on the CO2 emissions of our customers. Because we believe we have to contribute. Today, you may not be aware, but our own model shows that in a steel plant, in an integrated steel plant, classical, between 5 and 10% of the CO2 emissions of a steel plant are associated with inefficiencies in the running of the caster, of the continuous casting. All the inefficiencies, incidents, ups and downs, are responsible for between 5 and 10%, depending on the efficiency of the plant, of the total CO2 of emissions of a steel plant. So imagine how we can help our customers by helping them to run their caster in a smoother way without incidents. So we are investing a lot into that, and we believe our mission is to help our customers improve their own CO2 emissions going forward. And all this is through technology. That's the reason why we are continuing to invest heavily in technology every year and to attract and motivate young engineers to join us, because it's a very important motivation also to attract young talents. We are continuing to motivate young engineers to join Vesuvius, because when they join Vesuvius, they not only produce refractory, they help the world get better.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks. I mean, you have summarized the role of technology and its growth, its contribution towards the long-term sustainability so nicely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We started with the voice of our customers. Then we have heard from Mr. Andre, one of the leading refractory solution provider of the world. Now let me move to the other end of the value chain. I come to Mr. Samunes from Almatis. Almatis is a very long-term partner for refractory companies all over the world. Sir, we celebrated Deepavali in India a few days back. You know, Deepavali is associated with light. It is associated with fireworks. The unfortunate part is fireworks in alumina market is not stopping. It's going on for last few months. We refractory manufacturers sometimes feel that we are caught in between this increasing refractory raw material cost and a very demanding steel plants, demanding end user, asking for a more and more reduction in the specific cost. As a long-term partner, I would like to request your views that how Almatis can help refractory manufacturers to mitigate this challenge.
Yeah, Jyoti, can you please pass on the mic?
I mind. Again,
Hello.
refractory comes in.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I can understand the question. I think I'm on the other side of the table. But believe me, the challenges are very similar because we are buying raw materials as well. We are having also the cost increases coming to us. It's a good question. How can we counter these increases? Of course, there is no easy solution. But one thing I can think of is, of course, as Almatis, what we are doing is we are trying to bring the value chain or make the value chain shorter. That's why we opened up our plant in India, and I hope it makes better for our customers to get the products faster, because the shorter the value chains, the less the fluctuations. Unfortunately, our feedstock sources are not only local. So sometimes we source locally from India, which is our plan actually, because we are committed to make it in India, but also we outsource from outside India. What can we do together? I mean, Stefan mentioned yesterday in his speech that we have to come together, and I think this is one of the parts we can come together to integrate the supply chains. Because when I talk to refractory manufacturers, they are complaining about being in between, right? I'm in between a big manufacturer of steel and suppliers. First of all, we are not as big as most of our customers. So we are not bringing a lot of pressure. But we are also in between those pressures coming. So what can help us is, of course, our resources are limited, our finances are limited, but what can help us here is really integrating the supply chains, having better forecasting methods, so that we can also shorten our supply chains. This is for the feedstock resources that we are getting from outside. But of course, Saurabh is our friend, our competitor, as well as our supplier. So we have to also come together to make our supply chain shorter and faster. Thank you.
Thanks, Anil. Okay, so we have completed one cycle. We started with our user industry. We went to what are the thought processes in the manufacturing sector, and then we heard our esteemed partners in the raw material supply. So let's now get back once again to a very different thought. We are parking all the views, and we will come back in the second round if time permits. But I would like to ask you, Stefan. We all heard you during the last IREFCON in 2022, and I remember a question was asked to you that RHI Magnesita is going ahead with mergers and acquisitions, and you said, I recall you said that, so what? I mean, we are not adding any capacities. It is just putting the entire manufacturing base together and trying to offer a value proposition to the customer. So taking that forward in the second edition of the CEO Meet, I would like to ask you that what we understand is that all the acquisitions which RHI Magnesita has made, I think 6 acquisitions in 2023, 2 in India out of them. So they are all linked with your solutions contract strategy. So can you please share with us how successful you have been in integrating your product mix from the various manufacturing locations in India with this strategy, with the solution strategy to your Indian customers?
I can talk about this for probably a couple of hours, but let me give 2 or 3 specific examples.
Sure.
RHI Magnesita never thought about refractories for the aluminum industry. It just never was a business for us. Through the acquisitions and through the people who came to us in the 2 Indian transactions that we did, but complemented through 2 German or European acquisitions that we did, we suddenly learned that this is a very attractive space. Whereas our own experts who claimed we are the market leader, we know everything about refractories all over the world, always told the management, aluminum industry is not attractive for refractories. It's low price, it's cheap, it's just Chinese. We learned through these acquisitions by listening to the people who joined us, that's absolutely wrong. So today we have a total portfolio offering for primary and secondary aluminum furnace design, all integrated into one package, and product solutions that have been developed in Europe, transferred to Indian plants as we speak now, making this offer totally complete. It's a new business for us, but it's an offering for the aluminum industry that actually never existed like this before, because we have combined knowledge from different companies from different regions in the world and put it together in the capability of a team that didn't exist before. One example. Second example, coke oven. The beginning of steel making when iron is made. Same thing. We never understood this business. Critics always tell us, you're just buying plants, you're not investing in India. Well, first of all, we're buying from Indian owners, so we're actually investing a lot of money in India because it goes to someone living here. So financially, this is wrong. But the plants that we buy are at a completely, totally different level today. 3 days ago, I went to the Kambalia plant in the northwest of this country. This is a plant that made about 18,000 tons of refractories for the last 15 years. Well, this year they make 28, and next year they will make about 35,000 tons. Why? Because products that were never made in this country got transferred there from, for example, the Czech Republic or Slovenia. Applications that could never be served from here for coke oven construction are now made there. The quality of these products actually beat every other plant that we have in the world. We have no more dust in this plant. This is a plant that was built a long time ago. It looks like an old Indian refractory plant when we bought it. Actually, one of our manufacturing engineers said we should not make this acquisition. This plant is too bad. Now you can go there, eat from the floor in the mixing area. No dust there anymore. And the customers come there and they said 2 years ago when they came for the first time, we don't want to buy from this plant, it's a low quality plant, we want to buy from Germany. Now they come into this plant and say, we only want to buy from this plant and not from Germany anymore. Because and that's the value we bring, but I would say half of the value comes from bringing the knowledge from different parts of our group around the world, but half of the value comes from listening to the people that join us. And it's this mix that creates the step up. And I can continue talking, but I'll stop here.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Really lovely. I mean, this was, really good to know from Stefan that how integration has happened in RHI Magnesita world. Now I shift our attention to another organization which is also doing integrations. Kurosaki Harima sir, Mr. Kazuhiro, you are also present in India for quite some time now, okay? And from 2011, direct stake in the then Tata Refractories, now a major stakeholder. In all these years, last 13 years, you have done capability as well as capacity expansion in Tata Kurosaki TRL. We would like to know what is your plans, future plans for India, both in terms of capability development as well as capacity expansion, and how do you balance them? Because, when the market tends towards overcapacity, it seems, what is your message to the market? Whether we give value to capability or capacity, or how do we balance them?
Thank you very much for your questionnaire. So, actually, I believe that India is most, how should I say, developing and emerging country. There are few very big possibility to expand in the future. In the last several years, we are dedicating to comply with the requirement of the customers in India. So we made a lot of the investment in India, not only just the capacity-wise, but also the quality-wise. We believe that refractory is something like a mother of the steel. Not only steel maybe, but also the cement or all the materials. Without refractories, people cannot produce steel or other basement materials. And nowadays, India, I think the steel production is around just 12 million tons, about that. But on the other hand, if we consider about the population of India, just the consumption of the steel, or the per capita, is very, very slow, about maybe 80 kilograms, something like that. But normally, once the country becomes very developing, emerging countries, around 500 kilograms should be the, how should I say, consumption of the capita. So there is a big possibility to expand the demand of the steel, especially. So it comes to around 7 times we can expect. So even though the Indian government is expectation in the future, within the, for example, 2030s, just 3 times of the capacity, but I think it's still small expectation. And on the other hand, in order to comply with, and also in order to support the country to be a much more development countries, the requirement of the steel will be increased. That means also the requirement from the quality point of view, requirement to the refractory is also very, very important. So what Kurosaki Harima did that all the technologies we have in Japan, without any limitation, we are transferring to India. And not only just transfer the technology, but also we are, how should I say, utilizing so many best and brightest Indians. There are so many best and brightest Indians now in India. So not only produce in India, but also we'd like to utilize these very high sophisticated people outside India. So several persons are working in, for example, Europe, something like that. And what nowadays also we have to think about is that even though the CO2 commissions are, how shall I say, promised to the world, is I think that India is around 20, maybe 60 or 2070 maybe. But on the other hand, the reducing the CO2 emission is also very, very important. So not only blast furnace issues, but also DRI, electrical furnace materials will come into the market. But on the other hand, especially for the blast furnace, if people would like to deoxidization by hydrogen, that means, as everyone knows, that hydrogen will absorb the temperature. So that means more high temperature should be injected to the blast furnace. That means much more high quality of the refractories is necessary. Such a kind of the technology we'd like to, how should I say, transfer to India. And also speaking about the electrical furnaces, to produce high quality steel, such as, for example, outbody of the automobile or the electricity materials. That means also, of course, steel company has to put much more, how shall I say, alloys. That means also much more high durability of the refractory is necessary. This kind of technology also would like to transfer to India. But anyway, India has a lot of the potential. Without any limitation, we'd like to transfer as much as possible, not only technology, but also the investment in everything. Thank you very much.
It was really thought-provoking. And two words I really liked. One is he said, refractory is the mother of steel. Mother takes all the heat. The second one, he said that, in India also there are many good practices which a global company can also adopt outside India. Sometimes we feel that, Indians, we are a little ashamed of even claiming our due place in the world. Okay. So thanks for this compliment. As an Indian, I take it, and we really look forward to your greater participation in the refractory industry.
Thanks, Igawa-san. It was great to see Saurav and Anil shaking hands with such a nice smile in the opening session. So we have already heard from Anil. I know Jyoti was asking him that what kind of thought process is there within Almaty's. He was mentioning about fireworks and we just had the Diwali, and this is now a very popular tagline going on. Alumina is creating fireworks in the industry, but I am not going to touch upon that. Anil mentioned about his thought processes on the how the supply chain can be kind of made much more efficient. Hindalco Specialty Alumina has been doing a lot of work on technology, which Mr. Andre mentioned, on supply chain, which Anil mentioned. We were talking about sustainability, what Agarwal Sahab and Pathak Sahab were mentioning. Please share with us your thought processes on the value proposition which Hindalco plans to bring on the table going forward.
Thank you very much. First of all, it's a pleasure being here. This is just my second IREFCON, but it takes up only a couple of hours to realize that this is not really an industry conference, it is a family event. Because most of you people have, have been around in this industry for a very long time. Many of you have attended all 15 IREFCONs. I get to share stage with a very august, leadership team here. And I have my customers and my customers' customers, both sitting on the stage. So, I should be ideally speaking, in a very buttering kind of a tone. But let me share very honestly what we bring to the table, and also, share some of my, as in the spirit of being a family member, some of my challenges that we are also seeing, to your point on fireworks. I think Hindalco is a company which is wanting to become, a really close family member in this family of refractory makers. We are wanting to be, and we are, we have been suppliers of raw materials for many of our refractory customers for a long time, and we've worked very hard on completing our portfolio, on taking our value-added capabilities up over the last few years. We've also significantly invested in our sustainability credentials. To your point on powering a green future together, I'm very proud to share that one of our plants, which is the main plant which supplies raw materials, Belagavi, is the lowest carbon footprint alumina plant in the world, because we have less than 0.4, almost 0.4 ton per ton of carbon emissions now, and we are heading downwards, further down from there, which is a record in the world. No one knows about it. We are 5th year consecutively recognized as the most sustainable alumina and aluminum company in the world by Dow Jones and S&P. So another very important green credential that you should care about. So as we speak about making the refractory sector green and becoming a supplier of green raw material for the steel and aluminum and glass industries from the refractory agenda, I think I also want to say that there is, we are doing our part by making sure that the raw material that comes to you is as green as possible. We are also becoming more and more available because we have become a global company. We've set up, warehouses and offices all over the world. We are cutting down the supply chain. We are cutting down the risk of being available. We are making sure that materials are, available at a short call to all of you. Well, while we are doing all of this, one of the things that I must also add is, the request that I'd like to make is, please enhance your, your circle of, the family that we want to be a part of. We have to move away from a very tactical raw material supplier, buyer kind of a relationship that we currently experience, ourselves as, to a more strategic relationship. Because you told us you should become more sustainable. We've tried our best to do it. I have no hallucinations about how good we are doing technically, but I can only tell you that we have been very, very honest in our attempt to get better every day. We are doing more and more of, value-added products. We are doing better and better at our technology. We are doing better and better at servicing yourselves. We are doing more and more at completing our portfolio of, calcines, reactives, synthetic aggregates, to make sure that we are going to be available as an industry for you. And I speak also on behalf of, Anil here, my friend, where we are, I think, trying very hard to be as close and as real as possible for, for the refractory industry. It will help immensely if this relationship is strengthened by making it more strategic, by thinking about us as long-term partners, by thinking of us as, as you work on your technology and make better and better refractories, how can we partner with you on making better and better raw material for those refractories? How can we partner with you more and more by having better visibility of your supply chains, of your requirements, of your tenures? And this really is the only way, as I see it, to make sure that this accusation of fireworks doesn't keep coming at us, all the time. We are not here to, create any fireworks. We don't want to create fireworks. We want to be, your real partners, and we want the refractory industry together with us to succeed as a team, for your customers. That's really my true and honest, proposition here.
Chairman, can I
Please,
spice
sir.
this up a little bit?
Yes, please.
I want to connect the value chain here.
Yes.
Because it's all good and fair to say, we want to work together, we want to collaborate, we want to do everything possible, but let's test this now on a specific case. We just heard from Jindal Steel that their trend is to go to a total refractory management system because that provides so dramatically much more value. On the other side of the spectrum here on the panel, we have the alumina industry, which is working on a completely different cycle. Mineral-based raw materials, which are all the raw materials we use, are super commodities, moving very fast. It's a fast cycle. In the middle of this, you have the poor refractory guys who get jerked around by the fast-moving raw material guys up and down, and the stability desire of our customers. if we really want to work together across the value chain, we have to start with the end user, which is the customer, and work this back. So, to spice this up a little bit, are you guys ready to stabilize and adapt your operations with the refractory customers so that we can bring together stability to our customers?
Let me throw that ball back at you and ask, are you ready to get into a long-term relationship at not the lowest price of the day without wanting to partner on the technology, or tell us what you want to do on the value add?
Okay. Are we ready to do this together?
I would just like to add, India is the place where growth is happening. You have all type of customers, and the growth in the world, if it's happening at 4 or 5%, India, the growth will be at least twice that rate. So it makes sense for the likes of you to set up a base in India and meet our customers' need. And wherever there is value on the table, whether you call it as total refractory management or step by step, we work jointly and grow together.
I think the point is made, right? With this.
Yeah.
With this
You
case.
actually stole my rapid fire question session.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks, Stefan, thanks, Saurabh, for making it very lively, very interactive. Now, let's move to another very interesting point of Indian refractory industry, okay, which is a very pertinent point, and I have a very right person to answer this one. Vishalji, as we all know, Maithan has been in Indian refractory map for a very long time, and you have successfully consolidated your position with varied competition in the market, be it from local, be it from global. And I know industry knows you as a very upright, straightforward person, and I have a very straightforward question for you. This Atmanirbhar or Make in India policy is around for now almost 3 years. Give us an honest opinion. Indian refractory manufacturing, has it really benefited from Atmanirbhar policy, Make in India policy? Or what could have been done better?
Thank you, Jyoti. I think you have given me the right question to answer. So, I won't deny the Atmanirbhar policy by the government is a very good policy in terms of giving opportunities to Indian companies or maybe to MNCs also to make in India. So MNCs, they have come to India and they have put up plants, acquired plants, but at least they are now looking towards India. They are not looking towards India as only a market, they are looking towards India as a manufacturing hub where the cost of production is quite less. I have to admit, the production cost in Europe or US much higher than the production cost in India. So it's a double benefit. They are making cheaper, they're making near the customer. As regards us, we have grown last 6-7 years mainly due to this policy. I will admit, without this policy, we wouldn't have grown that much. We would have grown, but not that much. This policy will be more effective if our industry, first of all, I want to say that our industry is, a minuscule industry in the eyes of the government. There is no definite policies separately for us, or we can't, make feathers ruffle in a government. So we are just left on our own, practically. So for such an industry, if we go and give any representation to the government that these are the steps which will make this Make in India or Atmanirbhar Bharat more effective, nobody is going to listen to us. But what is happening is, people are circumventing this. They have opened dummy shops and they're selling material from abroad in the name of Make in India. If that stops, a level playing field is given to the Indian manufacturers. And with such esteemed MNC companies there to, guide us, I must admit that the people sitting in this stage are almost our guides. They are all top companies. And we look at them and we try to emulate. Had they not come here and opened shops, we would have been doing what we were doing 30 years back. So yes, Atmanirbhar Bharat has made it possible for everybody to come here and make at a lower cost, benefiting our customers. But there is a loophole in this Atmanirbhar which need to be plugged. I think I have answered your question.
Thanks, Vishalji. Thanks for just, making my point correct that you are very straight. He needs a very big applause for saying it from the stage that, the policy needs a relook into it to make it more effective, not only in paper, but also in reality. Sunandada.
Yeah, so thanks, Vishalji. We have heard more or less a big plethora of thought processes. If we remember what we were discussing yesterday about technology, about reduction in the specific consumption of refractories in steel, while the steel trajectory growth is also there, all of us have been aware of it and have been talking about it. In the midst of this entire scenario, we are finding in the market drop in the steel prices. We have steel makers with us. We also have a challenge of continuously upgrading our performance. So ultimately, even with a bigger, higher quantum of steel production, the requirement, the actual physical absolute requirement of refractories is coming down, and it will continue to be there. And in the midst of this, a lot of greenfield expansions also have happened in India. Dr. Raina Gabriel, thank you for being with us, and congratulations for setting up your new facility in Visakhapatnam. What are the challenges you are facing in this scenario? Because you have a new capacity of magnesia carbon bricks. The demand is fluctuating because a lot of volatility has happened from the steel industry as well as from the raw material industry. So with that, how we are looking at the capacity utilization of your plant?
First of all, thank you for having me here. Well, the question, the situation in the Indian market, of course. Yeah, maybe it's the worst time to open a plant and to try to fill capacity, or could also be the best time to do it right now in a time of, in a difficult situation. I think we will overcome the current relatively low market phase. And for us, of course, it's a challenge, but we also partly replace imports from China by local products that we ship to our customers here in India. So it was an approach by Refractories to become a local player and to provide the Indian steel industry predominantly with Indian products. And we are also set to use raw materials that come from China as well as from other parts of the world. So I think on the long run we have a very sustainable setup, and that will prevail. If just to shift over again to the topic here, sustainability, I think having the plant here is a big step towards more sustainability in all terms. So having a most modern plant here, using high quality materials and modern standards, I think this is already a step forward in terms of sustainability. But looking at the bigger picture and having heard the great speech yesterday evening by Stefan and all the comments here, I have 3 points to make, or maybe 2, let's see. One point is, if we really want to achieve more sustainability, I really ask the industry and the whole supply chain to populate procurement departments with engineers and to set the right KPIs. We don't have the right KPIs yet. And unfortunately, there is no KPI for performance per kilogram or per ton of used CO2. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
And we have to strive for that. And the procurement departments, they have to make educated choices. And for the time being, especially right now, I doubt that very much. We are in a vicious circle, and we are not talking about a greener future at the moment at all. So I can only appeal to the whole industry. Set the right KPIs. If you want to be greener and more sustainable, set the KPIs. Otherwise, it's a contradiction. We want to be greener, we want to save CO2, and we want to have a product that gives us the lowest cost per ton whatsoever. So there might be a contradiction, and we have to live with that contradiction, and we have to create or to define a path forward. Whether that is just a dream, I don't think so. At least in Refractories, we maintain also very strong partnerships and good alliances with our suppliers and also with a number of customers. And whenever we focus on real good technical KPIs like performance, we are better off in most cases. This is my experience over the last 20-something years. And I guess it makes no sense to complain about overall situations that we cannot influence. We can hardly influence what's going on in China right now. So policymakers in China have to deal with the Chinese raw material situation. We here in the room maybe we have a bit of an influence on that, but as a matter of fact, decisions are being made elsewhere. But what we can do is, of course, we can align ourselves in a certain way. And again, I can only emphasize that partnering up from one end in the supply chain to the very end, that's the way out of the vicious circle that we are in at the moment.
So primarily we are talking of, all of us, we are all talking the same language. We are talking of a complete transparent relationship across the entire value chain with fixed, defined KPIs. And that probably will ultimately lead to the sustainability that we are actually talking of.
Correct. Now we come to Mr. Hakimiki. Sir, first of all, congratulations for the successful acquisition which we have done recently. Last IREFCON, I remember, 2022, when it was in Calcutta, you were sharing a very big plan for India. But somehow it seems that the attention from then has shifted back to Europe, which is a little unlikely for a refractory company nowadays. So we are eager to know from you that what is your plan for India?
In? Okay. Actually, certainly, and we are latecomer. It's a great amount. We had some plan, didn't work out well. But we are very still fully committed to support the growth of market. But our intention is not just to bring big investment in India, not just to pursue scale of economies. What we are trying to do is to bring values, technologies from Japan, or maybe Brazil, or Australia, bring to the India to support refractory industries here in India to ultimately support our end users, steel, cement, and glass, whatever. So that's our plan. So that's what I'm looking forward to talking with our refractory industry regarding this IREFCON Congress today and tomorrow. And one thing I'd like to mention, taking this opportunity, and we are welcoming 150 years of anniversary of Shinagawa next year. And the slogan for that welcoming anniversary is no refractories, no life. So I started saying, last time I said no refractories, no steel, no refractories, no cement. But at the end, no refractories, no life. So I want everyone in this room to again
reaffirming that this society based on no refractories, no life, we all need to be very proud to be in this industry. And that's the only way for us to attract new talent for the future of the industry. So and thank you so much, and I was still very committed to support this market, great market of India. So I'm looking forward to talking to the industry during this conference.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thanks for giving this new slogan, no refractories, no life.
No refractories, no life. We have reached our time schedule. And so although we are really tempted to carry it on, but I think we should stick to the time schedule that we have originally planned for the program, because we have a lot of events going forward. So thank you so much, panelists. We would like to conclude the session here. And Jyoti, would you like to quickly summarize 2 minutes?
No, we had though we called it CEO meet, actually, the idea was that this is the direction setting platform. These stalwarts, they have set the direction of the conference, what in next 1.5 days or close to 2 days, what we are going to do. We are thankful to you for this guidance, and stalwarts are around. So I know there are a lot of 100 questions floating around in the audience, which unfortunately because of paucity of time, we cannot take it on stage. Please feel free to interact with them. Please take the advantage of their gracious presence during the conference. And from the bottom of our organizing committee's heart, we thank you all for this nice gesture. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti, and thank you, Shunando. Unfortunately, the fire was ignited, but it did not go up. So good. Anyways, we'll continue with that. Now I request all the eminent guests to please unveil the technical proceedings. This time we do not have a printed copy of the technical proceedings. Greener.
Just to clarify, sir, this is the first edition of IREFCON where we are not bringing in any printable versions of the technical proceedings. It has been given in the IREFCON app, but just to set the context, we have only printed 12 copies, 10 and 1 each for me and Jyoti.
We wanted to make the world
and
more
these two will actually go to the IRMA library, once we unveil it.
Exactly.
May I please request all of you to unveil the technical proceedings?
Yeah, please, sir.
If you can please stand up, so everybody can have a view. Yes, show your technical, thank you so much. Super. Oh, it's so heavy. Thank you so much. You all are requested to remain on the stage. I would now request Mr. Mohinder Rajput, Managing Director of Vesuvius India, to come on stage and felicitate our leaders. Thank you, sir, for doing this honor to us.
Again, refractory, people of fire, we need to be...
Very well organized. Very well.
Thank you so much. आप आए तो
नहीं, आपने बोला था. You set the tone really good.
प्लीज कुछ कंस्ट्रक्टिव डिस्कशन तो
पिछले 1 महीने से तैयारी कर रहे होंगे आप?
नहीं, 1 साल. हर दिन रात 10 बजे से लेकर 2 बजे, 10 बजे तक कंपनी भाग, 10 बजे से लेकर 2 बजे.
क्या करना है?
आप ये बुक लेके जाओगे कि क्या करेंगे?
आप भिजवा देना.
मैं भिजवा, अशोक के हाथ में मैं भिजवा दूंगा, अशोक पीकेसी में पहुंचा देगा.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for helping us. Thank you so much. I have got the honor to felicitate the two leaders here as well who moderated the event. So I took this opportunity to felicitate Shunanda and Jyoti. Now break for tea. The tea is for, I think, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, so it's 11:30. We will be back in this hall for the keynote session. So please be on time. Otherwise, the bell will start ringing again outside. So 11:30, back in this hall, please. Thank you. Enjoy your tea. One more announcement. If anybody